Hey guys, and welcome back to Lesson on Coding. My name is Ryan Lesson. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how to build a custom date picker with the Angular 4 framework. Now this type of component is very common and you see it a lot throughout many different types of application. You know, Google Flights, for example, Airbnb, they all use a type of date picker for you to select, a date range. So I hear a lot of developers use this commonly, and they always have a little bit of problems doing it, and they kind of use other people's libraries. So I'm going to show you building it customly isn't as hard as you think it is. And without any further ado, let's get right down to the code. So as you can see, I quickly scaffolded out an app here, and we're just going to start right from the beginning, scratch right here. So I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to create a div and give it a couple classes. Okay, I'm gonna come in here, and then I'm just gonna start off by building all the dates. So this is gonna be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So plus equals flex container. Okay, and we're gonna have to give this a class. So I'm just gonna give it calendar days. Okay. And I'm also gonna, just so I could center it, I'm gonna give it a flex container and then a flex center. Okay, and we're gonna give this S for Sunday, and so then I'm just gonna come here and copy and paste it. Okay, and then quickly just edit these right here. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, awesome. So we have all the dates right there scaffolded out. So let's click here. See what they look like. So I didn't give it width yet, so it's not. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So we see we have them there. It's right in the middle of the page. So let's make this look a little bit, fancier. So we're going to come over to our CSS and we're going to set a class for calendar days. And then this class, we're going to give it a width of 60 pixels, a height of 60 pixels, a background of, let's give it this color right here, 669999. Okay, kind of like a teal color, and we're going to give it a border of 3 pixels. Solid, and then we're going to give it C2 for like a light gray. We'll give it C2. Okay, so now let's check out what we have. Okay, awesome. So we have Sunday, Monday, we have all the days of the week mocked out for our calendar. Perfect. So next thing we would want to do is we're going to want to display, have like a little placeholder for the month and have, arrows going left and right. But first, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's define a container of how we're going to do this. So we know for the weekdays that there's going to be 7 days. So below this, I only want 7 days. So let's come into the app component and quickly mock out an array of the number of days within a month so we can quickly see this on the page. So we're going to come into our app component, and we're going to import. So I already did this. Just do npm install moment. I've already done this. I'm not going to do it again. So I'm just going to import. I'm just going to import the moment library. Awesome. All right. So now that I've imported the moment library, we're going to create our calendar array. So I'm going to define a couple things up here, a couple of public variables to hold some state for our calendar. So I'm going to define a date. So the date's going to be today. And I'm also going to define a days array. So this is going to be the array that will be holding all of our days. Okay, awesome. So we're going to come into our on init. And we're going to quickly be like this dot days array equals this dot, we're going to have a function here. So we're going to set this equal to a function that will return the array of all the days in the month for us. So we're going to just call this function, it's called create calendar. And we're going to pass in the dates. Okay, awesome. So we're going to come down here, We're going to define create calendar. Okay. So we have whatever month we're passing in there. So we need to again return an array of all the days in the month. So we're going to really heavily utilize this moment library because it gives us a lot of tools and a lot of ways to easily parse date objects and just transform them. So we're going to first define the first day. So this is going to be the first day of the month. First day, yeah, let's call it first day. So we're going to set it to moment month. So this will give us the first day of the month. So we're going to start of month. Okay, so that will give us the first day of the month, and then we're going to come here equals. So we're going to get all the days of the month. So we're going to quickly scaffold out an array. So I'm going to do array dot apply, and so the scope will be the global scope, and then we're going to set the length to the month dot days in month. Okay, so this gives us all the days within that current month. Awesome. We're going to come down here, we're going to map it to the number.call number. So this is just going to quickly ascend all the numbers up for us. And then after that, we're going to just leave it like that for now. And then we're just going to return days. Okay, awesome. So we got that all in there. And then let's just go into our HTML real quickly. Let's come down here. Let's define another div. And then in this div, we will, let's quickly make this a flex column. So I also want to put another div right here. So let's put all these within here. Okay, and then I'm going to give this a quick class of the flex container, and then a flex center. Okay, awesome. And then I'm also going to give this a flex column, so then these will not be rows, these will be columns, you know, one on top of the other. So we come here, and then this will be where our days will be knocked out. So we're going to use that array we just built, flex container, come down here, div ng4 equals let day of days array. Okay, come down here, div, div, and then we're going to come here and just put in day. Okay, so let's see what we got. Awesome. So if you look, you see that we have all the days mocked out within the month, you know, 0 through 29, which again, September only has 30 days in the month, and remember, arrays start at index 0, so we do have all 30 days within the array. It's just starting off on the wrong thing, so we'll fix that in a second. But first, let's make this look a little nicer. Doesn't look too nice. So first thing we're going to have to realize is we're going to be using the property of the flexbox called flex wrap. And what flex wrap means is if, you know, the width or the height of a container's containing elements is larger than that container, then instead of it continuing outside of the container, it will then wrap below. So we're going to be using that right here. So I'm going to come into my app component.css. So remember, we have this right here, and it's 60 by 60 plus 3 pixels. So each block is 66 pixels. So you go 66 pixels times 7. So then we got to just make the calendar component with a width of 462 pixels. Okay, so then this will just be able to contain all seven blocks that we want, and on the 7th block it will wrap down below. Okay, perfect. So we got that. So we're going to come here and we're going to quickly define our calendar component. Oops. ID equals calendar container. What did I name it here? I'm getting everything out. Calendar container. There we go. Okay, let's see what's it complaining about. Let's see real quick. We'll probably have a quick HTML error. Oh, looks like I forgot to escape something. Let's fix that real quickly. Ooh. Yeah, I'm using this library called Prettier. I've been getting that error lately. I gotta check out what that is. Okay, so we got this all there. Perfect. And then now let's just come here and then let's give this the class of calendar days. Okay, so this is going to be that 60 by 60 block. And boom, there we go. As you can see, it's outside of our container because our div container right here. Oh, because we didn't give it a flex wrap. So again, what I was alluding to earlier was if, the number of elements is more than the, outside container, if flex wrap is not defined, it's just going to keep going. So we're just going to quickly give it the flex wrap property, which again, this is just a class that I've already previously defined to speed this up. Perfect. Okay, there we go. Got all the calendar elements there. And let's just do one more thing. I want to make this centered. So we're going to give it flex container and flex center. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we have basically we have all of the days on the page. So now let's fix this real quickly. We're going to want to chop off the 0 and then make it 1 through 30. So let's come back into here. Let's add 1 to here. And then let's just slice off the end or slice off the beginning element. There we go. Click, and there we should have it. Okay, perfect. We have all 30 days on the page, and our calendar's starting to come along. So our next step is so like, for example, if we think of September, the first day of September does not start on Sunday. It actually starts on a Friday. So we need to be able to place the first day of the month on the right weekday for our calendar. So let's get into that right now. So to do that, I will come down here and I will be adding a for loop. And so we're going to do 0, first day dot weekday, plus plus, oops, sorry about that. Okay, so just going to make a quick loop here. Oh, no, what did I do wrong? What are you saying? Let's try it one more time. Looks like a weekdays not defined equals 0. Oh, you know what? I'm so stupid. I'm defining it outside of the scope of the function. I apologize about that, guys. My bad. It's getting late here in Dallas, Texas, so I apologize. Okay, awesome. What do you want? Let's see. Reachable code detected. Okay, that's fine for now. We'll fix that. Oh, we have this return days. Here, let's get rid of the return days. Put the return days below it. Awesome. Let's come in here and let's do days dot unshift. Unshift null. Okay. So basically what I'm doing right here is this first day gives us the first day of the month. Okay. And if I do first day dot weekday, it will give me the number of the weekday it starts on. So it's going to give me 0 through 6. Yeah, 0 through 6, with 0 being Sunday and 6 being Saturday. And in this case, we're going to get 5 because, again, September 1st starts on a Friday. So basically, we're just going to unshift null into our array. So we're going to unshift 5 nulls into our array at the beginning. So I'm just going to give a quick look at what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, we basically just padded 5 onto our array. So now we have the first day of the month starting on the correct date. Awesome. But these 5 spaces right here, they look, kind of weird. I don't really know what they are. Can I click on them? So let's add a quick just CSS style so we know that they're kind of disabled and they're inactive. So we're going to come here. We're just going to do inactive. and we'll give it a opacity of 0.6. Okay. Oh, still a little bit. There we go. Okay. An opacity of 0.6, and then let's go into our app.ts, and then let's just, app.html, and then let's just add the ng class property to it, property binding, and then we're going to inactive. So it's going to be inactive if the day is false, because remember, we have 5 nulls, and then we have all the numbers in the array. So if it's null, then we know it's an inactive day and we got a class to it. Click away, and boom, there we go. Now it kind of looks like, we can't click on those days. Awesome. So next up is I want to have, I want to be able to show like the first day of the month, and I want to give, arrows so they could go to another month and, click on another one, state range. So just right above here, we're going to do that. I'm going to find the div right here. Okay, and then within this div, I'm going to give this div a class of, flex container, flex center hors. So we're just going to center it horizontally. Okay, and then in here we will be giving it just for a placeholder. Okay, awesome. We have September there. And then let's just add some spacing. So I'm just going to add this with a class of with 5, which again is just with 5% that I already previously defined to help speed up the process. Oops, excuse me. We don't want with 5. We want height. We'll give it height 20 pixels. So we're going to give this height of 20 pixels, kind of space it out. All right, starting to look good. We're going to need those, like a chevron or something to click on. So I'm going to just get them from Font Awesome. I'm going to come here, go to Font Awesome, CDN. Grab the HTML link, come to our index.html. And oh no, look, I already imported it, but that's where I would have pasted it. So since I already have it, then I'm just gonna add the icon. So okay, so this is gonna be chevron left, and then this is going to be chevron right, and then let's give it some spacing in between. We don't want those on top of each other. So this is just with a 5%. Again, pre-classes I defined to speed up this process. And boom, there we go. Okay, so we have our chevron defined. We have both chevrons defined, and it looks good. Let's add a little spacing to it. Again, it's kind of like on top of each other, and we don't really want that. What's going on here? Do we have width? Did I define width 10? Let's see. Ugh, getting no love here. Okay, let's just define it real quickly. So we're gonna do width. We'll just do, I guess, 20 pixels. That's gonna be width of 20 pixels. Okay, real easy to define. We're just gonna come here, do width 20 pixels, width 20 pixels, click. There we go. Okay, so now we got some spacing from our chevron and our date. So now if we think about it, we just have, an array of numbers. And I'm going to print out the array of numbers so we can see what we're working with. So I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to console.log days. Okay, so when I click on it, you can see right here in the debugger, it's right here. You see our nose, and it's just all numbers. Okay, we don't really want just all numbers. We want something we could work with a lot better. So instead of numbers, I'll be using moment objects. So we're using the date time objects from moment that moment gives us, and we'll be using that for each day. So we have more functionality with every item that we use for whenever we click here. So to convert that array of all numbers to the array of all moment objects, I'm just gonna add some quick functionality to it. So I'm gonna get rid of this slice here, and I'm also gonna get rid of this +1. And so again, I have 0 right here. I have 0 through 30 now, or 0 through 29, and I'm just gonna map. This is probably complaining that I gotta put parentheses here, and then come down here. Then I'm just gonna return first day. So I'm just gonna do first day.add. So I put first day in the moment object, so I'm not directly manipulating it, so I'm not changing that state. So I'm just gonna add n day. Okay, so what I'm doing right here, is that I am adding 0 to 29 to the first day of the month. So it makes it really simple for us to have moment objects for each time. I'm just gonna, I already logged it out, so let's just take a look at what that looks like. Come down here, look at the console, and you can see we have an array of 35 right here, and it's all moment objects. And if we look at the moment objects, you can see September 1st, September 2nd, perfect. Okay, so now let's just come into our HTML. Instead of displaying the whole object, which doesn't look good, we don't really know what's going on, we're gonna use the Elvis operator, because remember the first 5 dates are null, and we don't want to perform anything on it if it's null. And we're just gonna do date. So this just is something that comes with moment that converts the date object to just the date. Click here, and once it takes a second to reload, or I get an error, what's going on? Oh, there we go, a little bit slow. Okay, awesome. So there we go. Everything now is a date object, so we have a lot more functionality with our component. So another thing I'm going to do is, remember in our app component we defined the current date. So we could use that current date also to change these headings up here, to work and be able to manipulate it. So we're going to come back to our app.component. app.component.html. And we're just going to come here, and we're just going to be like date.format. So again, moment gives us a bunch of formatting tools. We can format it however we want. So we're going to get the month, and we're also going to get the year. Okay. And then boom, now we have the object holding on to our year. So it'll be very easy for us to go to the next month or even the next year, and it'll change for us. Awesome. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back into our code. Let's get rid of the console.log. Let's, I guess that wants okay. And let's probably wants a space there. Okay, there we go. And these are probably, one second, let me fix these errors. These warnings. Okay, awesome. So got that in there. Next thing we probably want to do is show the user what the current day is. And to do that, I'm just going to color whatever the current day is red. So I'm just going to quickly set up a function. I'm going to call it today check. Today check. And we'll pass in the day. And this will just be like if the day is null, because remember again we have the nulls, return false. Or return moment. So the current date, we're going to format it to L, so it'll be an easy comparison. Today dot format L. Okay, very easy comparison there. we're going to come into our CSS and we're going to define the today class. And we'll just, again, color it red. Then we're just going to come into our app document.html, and we're going to go here, and we're going to define anything on our ng class, which should be today. And for today, we're just going to give it today check. And we're going to pass in the day. Awesome. Okay, click here, and now 17 is red. So now the user knows what the current day is. Perfect. So next piece of functionality, let's tackle going to the next and the previous months. Okay, so we're going to want to be able to navigate to any month and it just switched for us. So to do that, I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to define two functions. We're going to define next month, and we're going to define previous month. Okay. Okay, so in next month, what we're going to do is do this.date.add. So we're going to add a month to our date object. And remember, Moment has amazing docs, so all this is very well documented, very easy to learn. And we're now going to set our days array to this dot. We're going to create a new calendar, and we're going to give it the new date that we just added 1 to. Oop, days array. Sorry about that. Then the previous month, we're going to do this dot date dot subtract 1 month, and then we're going to do this dot days array equals this dot create calendar this dot date. Okay, awesome. Got those two functions in, and now let's hook those up to our calendar. We're going to come into right here. So this is going to be the previous function. This is going to be the previous month. And then this is going to be the next month. Okay. So now when we click on the chevrons, it should go to the next month and so on. So there we go. So you can see we're going to the next month, and our calendar is creating a new one for that month every time we click. Awesome. So now I got a lot of the functionality down. So the next step we will be taking is we're going to be then having a date range. So we're going to be having two inputs, and we're just going to be able, where you click, and then when you click again, we'll quickly add the date range in there for the user to see. So I'm going to come right up. So first things first, we're going to have to import a forms module because we're going to have to create a form here. So let's just first mock out, no, not that. Let's mock out what it's going to look like first. That sounds like a better call to action. So we're going to come in here. We're going to define two inputs. Okay, this is going to have a placeholder of start date, and then this is going to have a placeholder of end date. Okay, and then let's also give it a button, and then slash primary, and then it's just gonna say reserve. Okay, so click here. There we go. Got our two inputs and our button defined. Perfect. So next up is let's hook those two inputs into our form that we're going to create. So I'm going to quickly come to the app module, and we're going to be using the reactive forms module. So import from Angular forms. Okay, and then we're going to do reactive forms. Oops, there it was. Reactive forms module. Then we're going to come down here. Then the import's just going to import the reactive forms module. and then add a comma, and then we're going to come back into our app component.ts. And I'm just going to copy and paste a couple of imports I have from Angular Forms to use it. So we're going to import, oh, what's going on here? Oh, that's a colon. That's what this was complaining about earlier. Sorry, I didn't catch that. All right, awesome. So we got the form in. So now let's quickly create the form. So in our constructor, we're going to inject the form builder. Okay, and then we're also going to create the form right here. It's going to be of type form group. Okay, awesome. And so in the constructor, we're just going to call init date form. Okay, and then we're going to have this function right here that's going to create our form for us. Okay, and this is just going to return this date form equals this form builder. We're going to build a form group, and it's just going to have a date form initial value null, and then it's going to be required validate tours dot required. Okay, and we're going to have a date 2. Give it again initial value of null, and then valid date tours dot. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, got our form mocked out. Awesome. This has to be this dot init form. Sorry. Okay, got our form mocked out. Awesome. Looks good. So now let's kind of fix this spacing here. That doesn't look too good. We're going to come in here, and now we're going to put all this inside of a form. Okay, so let's give some classes to this form to style this a little bit better. So we're going to come here, we're going to give it a class of flex container and flex center. Okay, I'm going to see what that error is real quick. I probably made a little mistake somewhere. Oh, okay, I gotta just give it. The directive forms module looks like it's complaining. The form group of what we just defined is date form. Yes, there we go. Okay, so there we go. Now we have, let's add, I also add some spacing. I kind of like that. That doesn't look good. With, what did I say, 20 pixels? Is that what it was? Okay, got some space there, and then below this, let's add some height to it so it's not right on top of our month. That was a fail. Let's try it this way. There we go. Okay, add some height. Boom, there we go. Looks a lot better. So what we're going to do now is when we click on a date and another date, we want the first click to add that date to the start date, and then when we click again to add it to the end date. Alright, so we're going to come into our app component, we're going to find a new function, and we're going to call it, okay, so we're going to come into our app component, we're going to find a new function, we're going to call it selected date, and we're going to look at the day. So what we're going to do here is we're going to be like let day formatted. So we don't want to store the date object again in our input. We want to store it as a nice formatted object for the user to read. So we're going to do day dot format, and I'm just going to format it to month, day, year, typical format, very user friendly. And we're going to come down here and do if this dot date form dot valid. So I'm not going to be writing too many validations on this, just for the sake of time, but we're just going to be checking if it's there or not. A normal application would have a lot more checks, you know, say it's in the past or whatever. We're just going to be checking if it's there. So we're going to do this .dateForm .setValue. Okay, so this first one I'm defining is going to be to clear it. So take from dateForm. So if we click on this and the form is already valid, we don't want to add a new date to it. We just want to clear the form. So that's what this first check is going to do. Then after that, we're going to, we got to return after this. Break out of the function. Okay, come down here. So we're going to be like, if this .date form .get date from .value. So we're going to check to see if the date from value is there, and if it's not, no, we're going to see if it's not there, and if it's not there, we're just going to add it. Date from. We're going to patch the value to just be the date formatted. Okay, awesome. And then we're going to, so if that's there, if that's not there, we're going to patch that one. And if that's there, we're just going to patch the other one, which was date 2. Date formatted. Okay, awesome. So let's click here and let's run that function. Okay, so we're going to click here. Oh, excuse me, I forgot to add the selected date to the onClick event when we click on that in our HTML. So we're going to come down here. I'm going to add a click event to it. And when we click on any of those blocks, we're going to run selected date and then pass in the day. Okay. There we go. So we click here. Oh, no, it's not working. Let's check to see what's going on. I gotta get confused with dateForm and dateFrom. Let's see what I called it. I called it dateForm, which is wrong. That's why it's erroring. Sorry about that, guys. Kind of a tongue twister. It's getting late here. Would have thought of way better variable names so I didn't get confused there. Let me just add parentheses right here so that'll stop complaining as well. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Ugh, my pretty rat keeps fixing that. That's a bummer. Whatever. So, again, oh, still not working. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. Just gonna do a little bit of debugging. Yeah, what the hell? Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm so stupid. I forgot to hook up the inputs to the React form. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so we're gonna come in here to our HTML. And then we're just going to add a form control name of date from, and then we're just going to give this name equals date from date 2. So this is hooking up our forms to our form module, that or form builder. This is hooking up our inputs to our form. Sorry. Date 2. Okay, awesome. Got that in there. So now when we do this, it'll work. I apologize about that delay. Boom, there we go, and there we go. So as you see now, when we click on the date ranges, as you can see, they get inputted into our input fields that we defined. So the next thing we're going to want to do is highlight the range, to improve the user experience so they could see what dates were highlighted that they clicked on. So to do that, we're going to have to add a class that will highlight each element. So we're going to come into our CSS and we're going to give a property called selected. And we're going to do selected equal to a background of Peru, which is a very cool CSS color that I just learned about the other day. And we're going to give it opacity of 0.6. Okay, awesome. So now let's create the check function up here to see if it's selected. So public is selected. So to check if the function is, if that day is selected within our day range, it'll be like if. So first, remember we have the null days. Return. So remember we have to return a boolean because we're going to be putting this into our ng class, which applies a class if it's a boolean, if it's a true, and doesn't if it's false. So let date from equals moment. Okay, so we have our date from here, and I'm just not, again, manipulating that object. I'm creating a new one, and this is going to be date 2. Oop, and a space there, and a space here. Not there, right here. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to come down here, and then we're going to be like if this dot date form dot valid. So we're going to check to see if the date form is valid, and then if it is, we're going to return date from dot is. So again, moment gives us a whole bunch of cool checkers and just things we could do to see if a date's within a range, if it's equal to or whatever. I'm going to be using some right here. So if same or before, and dot is same or after. Okay, so right here we're just quickly checking to see if that date is within our date range. If it's going to return true. If it's not, we're going to return false. Okay, we're going to come down here. We're going to add another check, and this check is going to check to see if our first value is valid. So if it is valid, date form. Okay, and then we're just gonna return date from dot is same as day. Okay, so this, what did I do wrong here? Oh, spelled it wrong. Okay, so first one again, we check to see if the day is within the 2 selected dates we have. And this second check is just checking that if that date, the first day we click on, is the same as the date from, so then we can just highlight it. So I'll click here and I'll show you guys what that functionality looks like. Click here, click there. Oh, we got some errors. Let me check them out real quick. Oh, no errors. Okay, joys of live coding. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add the ng class. Let's add the ng class real quick. So we're going to come here and we're going to add the class. We call it selected. And we're going to add selected if is selected is true. Passing the day. Awesome. And we got an arrow. Let's see what's going on here. Is selected is not a function. I thought it was. What did I call it? I spelled it wrong, of course. Joys of live coding, everyone. Okay, there we go. And then if I click here, it should be the color Peru. And if I click here, it should be the color Peru again. Okay, awesome. So now our date picker is coming along really well. The user is able to click on any date range and it fills in the inputs. So one last tiny piece of functionality I will add is this reserve button. So when they click on the two dates, they could click reserve, and reserve whatever, this hypothetical, app's functionality would be for reserving. Maybe it's a hotel room. Never know. Okay, so to do that, we're just going to add one more function. It's going to be called reserve. Okay. Okay, so the reserve is just going to... Oh, sorry about that, guys. The reserve is going to first check to see if the date form is valid. So if it's not valid, don't even try to reserve it, just return. Okay. And we're just going to copy those two things down here again. Again, that could probably be abstracted in its own function, but it's getting kind of late here. We're just going to try to get the functionality working for everyone. And so we have the two dates. We're going to do this. We're just going to return a message here. So again, if it's valid, we're just going to return a message. And the message is going to say reserved from date 2 to date, it should be date from to date 2. Date from to date 2. Here, and this is claim that I didn't define it. Let's define it real quick. Public is reserved. Okay, come into our HTML. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to find one more thing right below the form. And it's going to be a div that's only going to be shown if is reserved is true or is there. And then it's going to just show is reserved. Okay, awesome. So let's see the last bit of functionality we have. Click, let's do, we want to reserve from September 18th to September 30th. Hit reserve. Oh, you know what? Forgot to add the click function to reserve. Joys of live coding, everyone. So let's come back to our button. Let's add the function right here. And VE, okay, oops. There we go. Close it. Awesome. Okay, so let's do September 18th to the 30th. Click reserve. What's going on? One last thing. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, that's the problem. Spelling errors, usually the culprit. I think I added an extra E. I did. Oh, let's just let the machine figure it out for me. There we go. Okay, so there we go. But that format doesn't look too good. Yeah, because you know what? We already have it formatted correctly. Let's just... So we already have it formatted correctly on our form. Let's just do it like this. Okay, here we go. So we want to do September 18th to September 30th. Click reserve and boom, we reserved it from September 18th to September 30th. So the cool thing about using date objects, one last thing, is if I was to do like a month trip, say September 18th to December 27th, I could come back and then I could see that those dates will still be highlighted because, again, the date objects times don't change and it's very easy to keep track of them and manipulate them. So again, thank you guys for bearing with me to the end with this. Hope you learned something. And for any future videos, please let me know, anything you would like to see, any type of UI component or just anything, front-end related that you would like me to show you how to do. Feedback is always welcome. And take care and have a great day. Woo!